Yeah, in this tutorial right here, we're going to be working with higher order methods, and these methods are array methods. And these methods, learning them is just going to make you a better programmer. It's going to make you understand programming better and also be able to read other people's code better. And normally, I know we do projects and all that, but I felt like whenever I get questions on projects I've done, most of the time it's about this higher order function. So I realized that a lot of people don't really, especially newbies, don't really understand them fully or haven't really cemented the concepts of them. And even if you advance, it's always good to cement these concepts even much more. So yeah, this is all what we're going to be doing. We're going to talk about for each, we're going to talk about filter, also map, and sort and reduce. And after that, at the end, we're also going to use all these functions together and see how you can manipulate your data. And yeah, that's what we're going to do in this video. You can see right here, we have a simple HTML file with our header, and then we connected our JavaScript to it. And as you can see right here in the app.js, we have number one right here, we have companies, and this is an array of objects. And these objects right here are different companies, and we give them different attributes of name, category, start, and end. And after that, you can also see this constant ages right here. And this is just an array of numbers. So these are the two things we're going to use to actually map out all this like for each, filter, map, sort, reduce. And yeah, that's the whole plan of this tutorial right here. For each right here is just a better way of looping through an array compared to a for loop. So you know what we should do? Let me create a for loop so we can actually compare both of them. So say for, and inside we'll say I is equals to 0. That means I starts at 0. I will stop when it's greater than companies dot length, but it will continue when I is less than company. And then I plus plus, so we increment it. And then here we're just going to console dot log, and we'll console dot log companies. And then in the index of I. So this way we save it. And now you can see right here, we have the different companies. And now we've basically iterated through this companies array right here, which is filled with different objects. You can see them right here. And yeah, this is how you do it with a for loop. I know you know this, but I just want us to compare both of them. That's why we're actually doing a for loop right here. Now let's actually see how we'll do the same thing right here we did with the for loop, but actually do it with for each. And the way we do that is we say companies dot for each. And then inside here, I'm just going to close it. Inside here, we're going to have a callback function. And then we say function. And inside this callback function, it can take three inputs. It can take, like, we can call it company. And basically what this is an iterator. So it can be called anything. Company is just what you could call it you could call it you could call it you can call it whatever you want. And also we can have an index. And then we can also have companies. That is the whole array. In this case, I'm going to use I just because I want you to see that they're basically the same. And then inside here, we're going to console.log. Let's say I dot, I will say console.log I basically. Now I'm going to just comment this out. And we save it. And you can see right here, we get the same thing. If I wanted, I could just add categories. And you see that when I save it, I only get the categories right here. And one thing you should notice is that, especially in this case right here, this looks better. In this right here, it looks way too long. We have to set a value. We have to say when it stops. We have to increment it. We have to also call the companies again and then index it. All that we don't have to do here. All we do is we just say companies. That's the name of our array right here. We say for each. We use a callback function. we put the iterator, which can be anything, and then in the iterator we say console.log I. And then if we want individual elements, we just say I.name. We save that, and now we have the name of each of the elements inside this company's array. And as you can see right here, it's very simple. And I'm sure most of you know about forEach, but that's the whole point of this. We want to just go through them and refresh our memory in them and all that. So that's it for forEach. Now let's get to filter. And as the name suggests, filter allows us to remove things or filter things out from an array. Now let's do something with this ages array right here. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to use the filter function. And the way we'll do a filter is that right here in this ages array, we want all the numbers which are equal to 18 or above 18. So we want them in another array. The way we do that is we create an array, an empty array. We call it above 17. We can make it equal to an empty array. And then below that we say for I is equal to 0, I is less than ages dot length, and then I plus plus. And inside this for loop, we need a conditional statement. So we say if ages square bracket I is greater than or equal to 18, we want above 17 dot, we want to push the ages square bracket I into this our new array. And after that, we'll just console.log above 17. And right here, we can see none of these numbers are below 18. Now let's see how we'll do it with the filter. And the way we do that is we start with a constant, give it the same name, above 17, set that equal to ages.filter. And here we create another callback function. We give it an iterate, we call that age. And now inside here we use our conditional, say if age is greater than or equal to 18. What do we want? We want it to return true. And yeah, that's it. So now I'm just going to comment this out. And I save it, and you see we get exactly the same thing. And for sure you need to console.log above 17 to actually get it on the console. But you see we get exactly the same thing. And you know what? With this right here, we could even make it shorter and actually cooler by actually using our ES6 arrow function. And this is the way we do that. We set a constant, exactly the same thing, above 17. Set that equal to ages.filter. And now inside here, what we just do, we put our iterate, and then after that, we put our arrow function. And next thing we do is we actually just put our condition. So less than or equal to 18. And that's it. So now let me comment this out for us to see it. And obviously we need to console.log it. So put that right there. And we save it. And you can see we get exactly the same thing on the same line. So now comparing this right here to this, you see that this is a lot of code. So this is why higher functions are so useful. And believe me, if you're someone who is working on projects or even reading other people's code, you'll see that people don't use this because this is just a waste of time. Prefer using higher functions. So yeah, that's why this tutorial actually I just said I had to make something about it because it's something you're gonna see as a newbie, as an experienced programmer, you always see this. Now what I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna comment here to actually just show what we're doing, and I'll say ages above 17. And what I want us to do right here is I want us to take the companies that have technology as their category. So I want to filter that. And when we do this filtering, we're not creating a new array like we would do with map. And don't worry, we'll get to map. And the way we actually get these categories is that we say constant tech, set it equal to companies dot filter, and inside here we'll say function, create our callback function, and inside our callback function we'll have company, and after that we'll say if company dot category is equal to a string, and the string right here is going to be this technology. Just going to copy it, paste it. What we want to happen is that we want it to return true, and that's it. Now we console dot log tech. Right now you can see we have all the tech companies. So we have Google, Apple, and Microsoft. So that's what we just did right here. And I'm going to comment this out because we're done with this. Yeah, so we can see it right here. And what we just did right here, a good practice is, and of course it's your choice, is to actually pause the video right now and try to do it in ES6 arrow functions. That's the shorter way. If it works out, great, but if it doesn't, you can always check mine, and it's also good practice for you. Now let's do the same thing with the ES6 arrow function. So say constant tech is equal to companies dot filter, and then inside there we call our iterate company, we use the arrow function, and then we say company dot category is equal to technology, and yeah, that's it. So now I'm going to comment this out, console.log it, save it, and you can see we get exactly the same thing, just shorter code. You can see Google, Apple, and Microsoft. Now let's get to maps. Just gonna put a comment here and say filter tech companies. And yeah, also put right here and just take this up because I'm gonna leave this code, so I just want to arrange it better so you guys can understand everything about it. Yep. So we have for each here, we have filter, and the next is map. Now map works completely different. What we can do with map is that we can create new arrays from existing arrays. Let me show you. Now what we're going to do with the map is that we're going to create a new array of all the company names. So we can see the company names here, so we'll create an array that has only the company names in it. And the way we do that is we say constant names and make that equal to companies dot map. Inside map, I'll do it the longer way first without the arrow functions. Inside here we'll have company, and then we'll say return company dot names or name. Now all we need to do is console dot log names. So we save that, and now you can actually see it right here. We have all the names, and you can see they're in an array. We created a new array. This is not the existing array. So this is what I mean. We created a new array from the current array, which is right here. Now, you know what? Let's change this to the ES6 way. And just for you to know, you don't have to, but I think it's good to understand ES6 because you'll see it in a lot of people's code. So it's good to at least understand it. Even though you don't want to use it, just understand what it's saying. Because believe me, you're going to get frustrated. And now you can see we get the same thing. And this is just with the arrow functions. Now you can see less code and yeah. So you know what? I'm just going to put it here. Array of company names. You can see them all there. Tesla, Amazon, Google, Apple, Berkshire Hathaway. Yeah, the whole of them. And you can do all sorts of things with this map right here. Even if we wanted an array that had like the start and end year, we could easily do that with map. So let me show you how we'll do that. We'll set a constant, and we'll do that by saying constant, and then we'll put our name, we'll say company year, and set that equal to companies dot map, and inside it would have year arrow function, and we'll use a string literal for this, and then we'll say year dot category. I would say year dot name, and after that put in an array, another literal, and say year dot start, and then I would say put a dash here and say with a dollar sign and during our curly brackets year dot end. Now we just console dot log company year. Company year. I'm gonna remove this right here and just push it up. I'm just gonna delete this because that's what I should have done. I'm gonna delete that. And we console.log it, and you can see right here that we have the company names and then we have the year they started and ended. And that's it for map. Now let's take a look at sort. And sort is just like this other function. So you know what we're gonna do to actually really understand it. We're gonna sort the starting year of each of these companies right here. I want it to start from the oldest to the youngest. So let's get to it. And the way we do it with sort is we set a constant and we say companies sorted equals to companies, not company year, companies dot sort. Then create our callback function. As its input, it will have S1 and S2. Inside there, we'll have our condition, and this condition is going to be S1 dot start is greater than S2 dot start. So if it's greater, we want it to return 1, else want it to return -1. And now we console.log companies sorted. And I'm just gonna comment these out because I don't want them interfering like the last time. Now we save it. Yeah, bracket should be there. And yeah, so now we can see that right now we have them all sorted. So we have the oldest, which is 1981. Then we have 1981. Then we have 1986. Then we have 1987. We have 1989, 1992, 1999, 2009, 2011. So you can see they've been sorted in that way. Now let's do this in the other way, which is way shorter with ES6 arrow function. So we say constant companies sorted is equal to companies dot sort. And since we have two arguments, we'll have another bracket inside. If we had only one, we wouldn't need this bracket, S1 and S2, and then our arrow. And after that, what we have next is that we have another bracket. We say S1 dot start is greater than S2 dot start. And what I'm going to use right here is a ternary operator, and that's with the question mark. With the question mark right here. So say either it's 1 and then a colon or -1. So you can see the similarity. Here we had return 1 else return -1. With the ternary operator, we just say we put a question mark right here, and then we say the first option and then the second option, or the first condition and then the second condition. And now I'm going to comment this out because I don't want it interfering. And we should get the same thing. Save it, and voila, we get the same thing on one line of code. So you can see how easy and smooth this is. And I always say you don't have to use arrow functions, but it's good to understand them. So that's why I'm using them and showing you the differences. Now let's just sort again for the ages, and we just want to sort the ages right here. You can see them right here. I want to sort them from smallest to highest. So the way we do that is we say constant age, says equal to ages dot sort. And now we just say console dot log age. And now you can see we have it sorted right here from 12 to the highest, which is 64. But the problem is, I hope you notice it, that this right here, 5 is right here. So we have a problem right here. And that's, I actually wanted you to see this. It's because these are two digits. So it basically doing 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, and then 5. But we all know that 5 should be the first before 12. So how do we fix that? And the way we fix it is we give it two arguments. We give it an argument A and an argument B. And then we have an arrow function. And then we say A minus B. Create some space there. Now we save it. And now you can see that 5 is actually the first 12. So it's actually sorted them correctly. If you wanted it to sort it from biggest to lowest, you just revert this and you save it. And now you can see we actually start from the highest and then we go to the lowest. So yeah, these are the cool things you can do with sorts. So that's it for sort. Check them out, play with them and all that. You can use different examples for them and try to like use this code right here to get different informations. Now let's get to reduce. Now what we're going to use reduce for is we're going to add all these ages together. And we're not going to complicate it, we'll keep it simple. But just to give you a taste of it and kind of understand it first before we can use it for more advanced stuff. Yeah, so let's do it first with a for loop and then we'll use reduce so we can see the differences. And we reduce, we'll say let sum of ages, it's a long variable name, but we'll use it. Let it be equal to 0. And then we use the for loop. We'll say for let I equal to 0. I is less than ages dot length, and then I plus plus. So we increment I. And then we say sum of ages plus equals ages square bracket I. And now we just console dot log sum of ages. Now I'm going to comment these out because we're done with them. And we save it, and now you can see. It's weird, I don't know what this is. Okay, I put it there. Oh my gosh, that got me. Seriously. I was like, what is that? I mistakenly typed that in there. Now let's do the exact same thing with reduce. So we say constant sum of ages. Let's say we equal to ages dot reduce. And now we have our callback function. I hope you're seeing the whole trend of this. Inside our callback function, we'll have total and we'll have age. After that, we just put our return. We'll say total plus age. And then we'll put where it starts from, 0. So total starts from 0. Now, just gonna carry this over here. And also this. Save it, and you can see we get exactly the same thing. But you know what? I want us to take it even further and use ES6 arrows to do this. So the way we do it with arrow functions is we say constant sum of ages, set that equal to ages dot reduce. Inside that we'll have total. I know I'll change this to sum. And then we have age. After that we'll have our arrow function. And then we just say sum plus age. And after that, we put the starting point of sum. And now if I just take this console down here, and I comment this out, we save it, and you see we get exactly the same thing. So these are like the 3 ways of doing this, and you'll see this is the easy, this looks better on the eye. If you're reading something and you understand this is way better than actually doing this one here, the for loop, dinosaur age. This is a little bit okay, but why do this if you understand the arrow functions? But it's your choice at the end. Now let's do one more example for reduce, and in this case we want to get the total year of each company. And I'm going to do this with arrow functions from beginning. I'll say constant company age. I'll say equal to companies dot reduce. Inside that we say total as an argument, and then S1. And then our arrow function. And after the arrow function, we'll say total plus, oh my gosh, what's happened there? We'll say total plus, in bracket, S1 dot end minus S1 dot start. So I hope you get what I'm doing there. I'm minusing the end date from the start date to get how old the company is. And yep, that's it. Now we just console.log company age. Save it. And now you can see we get 118. And this is all the companies, their year added together. So yeah, so 118 is actually correct. You can always try and do it manually to see if it's really correct, but believe me, it is. Now, one last thing I want to show you is how we can combine these methods together. And if I've been calling it functions, the right word is actually method, but yeah, who really cares? Functions, method, as far as you understand what I'm saying. Now, what I want us to do is, I basically want us to do the same thing with this constant company age. But first we'll use a map. So we'll say companies dot map. Now, why I want us to use a map is I want us to get the individual age of each company. So we do that right here, and then we say, S1 arrow function, and now we say S1 dot end minus S1 dot start. And now if we just, I'm gonna take this over here, drag it down, and I'll comment this other section, and we save it. You can see now that we have the individual age of each company. Now I want us to add the map to just, you know what, sum each individual. So we do that like this. Say dot reduce. And then we say S1, S2. See, we have to create another bracket because we're having two arguments. Now we use the arrow function again. We say S1 plus S2. And now we save it, and you can see we get the sum. And in this case, we didn't have to add total to it. And now you've seen us actually add two of these functions to manipulate our data. What I want you to do is an exercise for you. Try using the four of them to actually manipulate your data. And you can always go over here and change your data set. You could even use an API depending on what you want, because at the end, just following this tutorial, you won't really cement these concepts into your mind. You actually have to practice them on your own, use your own data, and really do it on your own. So yeah, that's it for this tutorial. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you're new to this channel and you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. And if you like content like this, I release video every week. So yeah, and that's it for now. I'm gonna wrap things up and keep things moving. See you in another YouTube video.